In his most chilling warning yet, Mojtaba declared that Iran would wipe out the entire Gulf energy industry if provoked further, signaling a dangerous new phase in the escalating regional conflict. An enraged Mojtaba has now threatened to crush Arab economies through a prolonged war, vowing that no oil field or gas facility across the Gulf will be spared from Iranian retaliation. Even Donald Trump appears visibly alarmed by Mojtaba's threats, reportedly urging Israel to halt further strikes on critical targets to prevent a catastrophic breakdown in Gulf stability. Iran has issued a stern ultimatum to the international community after Israel's bombing of its prized South Pars gas field, demanding accountability and warning of severe consequences. In direct revenge, Tehran unleashed a series of destructive attacks, setting ablaze Qatar's liquefied natural gas hub, a Saudi fuel depot, and key infrastructure sites across the UAE. Within just 24 hours, Iran has delivered 3 major threats to Gulf Arab states, describing them as their final warning before a full-scale regional war erupts. Iran's elite Revolutionary Guard Corps has issued a chilling warning that it would completely destroy the oil and gas industries of its Gulf neighbors if tensions with Israel and the West continue to rise. Tehran's warning carried a clear condition: if there is even one more attack targeting Iran's energy sector, the country vowed to unleash devastating retaliation across the entire Gulf region. The IRGC said, quote, "We warn you once again that you made a big mistake in attacking the energy infrastructure of the Islamic Republic, the response to which is being implemented. If it is repeated again, further attacks on your energy infrastructure and that of your allies will not stop until it is completely destroyed, and our response will be much more severe than tonight's attacks." Unquote. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian also delivered a firm warning, cautioning that any attack on Iran's vital energy infrastructure would trigger a powerful and immediate response from Tehran. Iran's president said, quote, "These aggressive acts will not achieve any gains for the Zionist American enemy and its supporters. On the contrary, they will complicate the situation and may lead to uncontrollable repercussions whose effects extend to engulf the entire world." Unquote. Iran's parliament speaker has now joined the growing wave of warnings from Tehran's leadership, issuing a bold threat of his own directed toward regional adversaries. Mojtaba Khamenei declared that any further attacks targeting Iran's vital oil infrastructure would be an act of pure suicide, inviting swift and devastating retaliation. Iran's parliament speaker said, quote, "Last night, the people of Iran foiled all of the enemy's designs. They are angry and despairing in the face of the Iranian people, and by attacking infrastructure they want to hide their failures in the field. Of course, this means suicide for them." Unquote. All of Iran's latest threats were issued in direct response to Israel's recent strikes on key gas facilities located within the massive South Pars field, intensifying regional tensions overnight. The South Pars gas field is critically important to Iran's economy, providing nearly 70% of the country's domestic natural gas supply and powering millions of homes and industries. In a swift act of revenge, Iran targeted Qatar's main gas hub, the Ras Laffan industrial city in the north, dealing a heavy blow to one of the world's most critical energy facilities. Before the disruption, Ras Laffan supplied nearly 20% of global LNG output, but the war's sudden escalation has sent markets into chaos and energy prices spiraling. Qatar labeled Iran's attacks on its primary gas infrastructure a direct threat to its national security, calling the strikes reckless and unjustifiable under any circumstances. Doha lashed out at Tehran, accusing it of crossing all red lines, as the regional war intensifies and diplomatic tensions reach a breaking point. The Qatari Foreign Ministry went further, denouncing Iranian missile strikes on energy installations not only in Qatar but also across Saudi Arabia and the UAE. Reports now reveal that an Iranian missile strike on a Riyadh fuel depot used by U.S. fighter jets was caught on camera, fueling outrage in Western defense circles. In the UAE, operations at the Habshan gas complex were suspended on March 18 after pieces of intercepted missile debris rained down near the facility, prompting emergency evacuations. The Bab oil field was also reportedly targeted in the volley of strikes, though initial reports confirm no immediate injuries among personnel on site. Qatar has warned that the ongoing attacks on Gulf energy infrastructure pose a grave risk to global energy stability, potentially triggering an international supply crisis. In a final diplomatic escalation, Doha declared several Iranian security attaches persona non grata, expelling them after the missile strikes to signal its anger and rejection of Tehran's actions. Qatar's foreign ministry said, quote, "Qatar expresses its strong condemnation and denunciation of the brutal Iranian attack targeting Ras Laffan industrial city. Qatar considers this assault a dangerous escalation, a flagrant violation of its sovereignty, and a direct threat to its national security." The Ministry of Foreign Affairs affirms that the state of Qatar, despite distancing itself from this war since its outset and its commitment to avoiding any escalation, notes that the Iranian side persists in targeting it and neighboring countries, pursuing an irresponsible approach that undermines regional security and threatens international peace. Qatar condemned the attack as a blatant breach of United Nations Security Council Resolution 2817 and urgently appealed for international intervention to prevent further escalation in the Gulf. The Qatari government declared that it fully reserves the right to respond to any act of aggression, emphasizing that the principle of self-defense is firmly protected under international law.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.